Okay. Nobody had anything juicy to tell us. So I guess we'll have to start the board meeting. And if you can, please stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We had one closed session this morning under Government Code 54956.9D1, a conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Dennis Pani versus Calaveras County et al., Superior Court Case 12CV 38597, and let the record show that Supervisor Ponte recused herself from the room. There was no action taken. The second closed session will be held after the end of board meeting today. Okay. I'd like to go to item 3, adopt a resolution recognizing Calaveras County Deputy Brian Baker for exemplary service to victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to Supervisor Edson.
So this is a resolution recognizing Calaveras County Deputy Brian Baker for exemplary service to the victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. And before we bring Mr. Baker up here, I'd like to ask the board please to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second. That was really easy, wasn't it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Done. So Brian, can you come up here, please? So I'm really honored and proud to be able to recognize Brian for his outstanding efforts with victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. It takes a very special person to do that. So I'm just going to read the resolution. So it says, whereas the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors has declared October 2013 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and as much as has resolved to recognize the work of those providing services to victims. Victims of domestic violence must feel safe and supported in order to report these crimes to law enforcement. Very special person. Staff at the Resource Connection Calaveras Crisis Center have received numerous positive comments and reports from victims with regard to Deputy Brian Baker. Deputy Brian Baker has consistently demonstrated patience, respect, and compassion for victims of both domestic violence and sexual assault. Deputy Brian Baker has also provided support for staff of the Resource Connection Calaveras Crisis Center during the volatile and emotionally charged situations. Partnership between law enforcement and victim service agencies is key to providing appropriate services to victims. So now, therefore, being resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Calaveras County do hereby recognize Deputy Brian Baker for his exemplary work with victims and his partnership with and support of staff at the Calaveras Crisis Center. Be it further resolved that the board encourages all citizens to honor the important work done by the Calaveras County Sheriff's Department on behalf of the victims in Calaveras County. So this is passed and adopted by the Board of Supervisors of Calaveras County, State of California, 22nd day, October 2013. I want to thank you for now, colleagues, we are would like to say something. And she's with Resource, or Calaveras.
Crisis Center, yeah. So we don't mean to embarrass you, but I want to point out that this is the first time that the Crisis Center has recognized a deputy. Hopefully it won't be the last. But because we were hearing good things and because staff is seeing good things and telling me that it's a pleasure to work with you and consistently seeing the support that you give us in these difficult situations, we really wanted to publicly thank you for the hard work you've done. Working with domestic violence and sexual assault victims isn't easy. We get that. And we're used to the touchy-feely piece of it, and I know that that can be difficult for law enforcement. So being able to find a way to provide that compassion while you're still being logical and taking care of the situation is a really amazing skill that we really, really appreciate. So we just want to tell you we think you're doing a great job. We appreciate you, and we have a certificate for you, which I'll bring up.
Look at that.
This one is important. Thank you. Really good job.
Deputy, did you want to say anything?
Don't be shy, go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thanks,
your
Brian.
support system back there. I'd like to move to public comment. 5 minutes per person, and we will go for half an hour. Hey, Jennifer.
Good morning. Jennifer Gerald is the 4-H program coordinator for Calaveras County. Brought the newsletters today instead of just officing them to you folks. But I wanted to just point out we're actually still in the midst of 4-H enrollments, and it's going really, really crazy, which is a good thing. We have right now, we're at 205 members between the pendings and the active members. Some are still trying to figure out the online system, and so I've been on the phone heavily lately doing that. We've got 4-H volunteers of 45 right now, so usually we end the year with roughly around 100, which is a good thing because we're on our way. We've got right now 5 new volunteers, and we've got 11 that are on a list that want to become volunteers that I just need to kind of finish up on some of the things, one being a face-to-face orientation with me that I like to talk to them personally about what's going on and what they need and provide resources to help them get started. The upcoming projects with the new leaders that we're going to be having this year, and this is not in each club. Some of the clubs, maybe a leader had left because their children graduated out of 4-H or they moved away. But we have a stained glass project coming up in Copperopolis. We've got a public speaking project, a new beef leader in a club, scrapbooking, foods, welding, and sheep. And a lot of these are projects that have been available in the past, but like I say, sometimes we need new blood to help out. The new projects that we have now lined up currently that are already completed, we have sheep, arts and crafts, photography, computers, robotics, horses, and citizenship. So those are exciting things, and just getting the year off to a good start. And so anyway, on that, I won't say a heck of a lot more, though. That we've got the newsletter. And actually over in Tuolumne County, we're partnering with Tuolumne 4-H, and they have Camp Sylvester up in Tuolumne County. It's above Sonora, and so we're trying to get a group 4-county camp going for this summer. So that's exciting, and we really hope that works. And then also right now, if anybody is in the mood, there's the 4-H haunted house that they put on over in Tuolumne County each year. And I keep saying I'm going to go, and I'm really going to try to go this year because it's quite the event. And they do performances several times, so it's not just the evening of Halloween. It's a big ordeal, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. So if you get a chance, that's in the newsletter packet. And Marita, I did see you on TV from, I think it was last year here with the government's when they had all the treats and all the goodies. But it was just on the other day, and I cracked up. I was like, oh, there's Marita, my crillatist. So anywho, on that, are there any questions?
No, thank you, Ms.
Uh-huh.
I have a question.
Okay.
Often I hear people don't know because of office changes. Where are you currently located? Where's your
We are
office?
in the old GIS building.
Okay.
It's over by mental health and mental health and substance abuse and all that. We're kind of across that little road by the red barn that goes where the DA's office is on the left side, and we're that first set of the portable buildings on the right. We're the first one. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gurley.
Good morning, Barbara Uke, District Attorney. I'm here with Sergeant Tim Stern from the Sheriff's Office, and we're here to let you know that tomorrow marks the beginning of National Red Ribbon Week. Red Ribbon Week began back in the 1980s with the tragic kidnap and torture and murder of 37-year-old DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena. The purpose of Red Ribbon Week is to raise awareness of the destruction caused by drugs in America. Both the Sheriff's Office and my office will be visiting schools, or at least reaching out to schools, trying to raise some awareness among our youth of the dangers of drugs. On Saturday, from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, in 3 different locations around the county, the Sheriff's Office is sponsoring Drop the Drug events. You can go and drop off your illegal or your legal drugs, and no questions asked, for safe and secure destruction. With the prescription drug abuse among kids, we encourage everyone, especially parents and grandparents, to clean out any prescription drugs you no longer need, so they don't end up at pill parties. Those are still happening around the county. The Sheriff's Office is dealing with the overdoses that occur. I don't know if any of you are aware of that. What kids will do is go and get whatever drugs they can out of parents' or grandparents' medicine cabinets, bring them to a party, drop them in a bowl, and the kids will just take handfuls of pills, not knowing necessarily what they're going to do to you. So I encourage, I can't stress that strongly enough, to go to your medicine cabinets and clean out anything that you're not using so they don't fall into the wrong hands. Tim is going to announce the locations of around the county for this Saturday.
Morning. Again, this is 10 to 2 this Saturday. There's 3 locations. The first is Toyon Middle School, and then the second is for Angels Camp. That's going to be the Calaveras Office of Education. It's on Main Street. And then the last one for the other side of the county is in Feeney Park. Again, all 10 to 2. This is a great service that's offered. We take prescription pills and bottles. This is your opportunity to clean out the medicine cabinet. Anything that's expired or not used anymore, it gets destroyed by DEA, free of charge for us. We seal up the box at the end of the day, bring it down to them, and it's all done for us. Over the past 3 years, we've destroyed over 1,000 pounds of pills. That's what's been turned into us. And we believe that's pretty significant because that's 1,000 pounds of pills that didn't get diverted and has been properly disposed of.
And the big thing is you can bring the whole bottle. You don't have to take the time to peel off the label. I know that's sometimes a deterrent for people because that's a lot of work to get those labels off those bottles. Just bring the whole thing in. It goes into a secure burn box. Sheriff's Office takes it, seals it up, and delivers it for destruction.
So people's names would not be
That's correct.
seen.
That's correct. And no questions asked, again. So it goes for your illegal drugs as well. Now it's time to kick your methamphetamine habit, right? So just bring it in, no questions asked. They're going to take it. They're going to. I'm not pointing at anybody in particular. It goes for everybody. Just bring it on in. You got some left over, just bring it in and they'll destroy it. No questions asked. So it's a really great service, and it commemorates, of course, Red Ribbon Week. It's very important to raise that awareness. And I believe Tim has given you each
Sergeant, that Feeney Park, is it going to be over near where they serve, hot dogs, candy?
No, it's actually as you drive in. So you can actually do a drive-through. You don't even have to get out of your car. We'll walk up to your car with the box. You can drop it right in the box, and then you can get back on the road.
In the parking lot in Feeney?
Correct, where you'd park to use the fields.
Okay, so 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock this Saturday, Toyon Middle School, the Office of Education parking lot, that's the Bank of Stockton parking lot in Angels Camp, and Feeney Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Bonnie Newman from Double Springs. Today is the clinic for flu shots. The Public Health Department is sponsoring at the Samaritan Church on Baldwin in Valley Springs from 2 to 4:30. So if you haven't gotten your flu shots, don't forget, because we don't want to get sick this year. Thank you.
Any other public comments on items not on the agenda?
Excuse me. My name is Peter Race. I'm from the Generalin area. I am a Tea Partier. I'm one of those radical troublemakers who believe in the Constitution, life, liberty, and property. So just to set it up straight, I am. This DA was talking to you folks directly, or just wanted to publicize it? Does she know something about you folks?
She may.
Yeah, okay. Something happened at the last board meeting that kind of bothered me. And I didn't like it. I don't mind. I get flack for me. I'll take it. I take a great pride in people who don't like me. And just as much I take a great pride in people who like me. There was a question about global warming. And in a spirit of not getting too negative, and since we have so many experts on this board, and basing their decision, reflecting their values, ideology, or agendas, I'd like to make a proposal to the board. Since we have so many experts, because I'm sure they really know what they're talking about, we should have a little get-together. And maybe we can do it for a good cause. And hopefully there's enough calcium in some people's backbone. Let's have a little debate about it. 3 of you folks, and maybe I can find a couple of people that are willing to help me, maybe interpret. And let's have a discussion about the issue of global warming. And not as much as global warming as man-made global warming. Let's discuss it, because a whole bunch of general plan and social responsibility, as it's written in our general plan, let's have a little discussion and publicize it. And any 3 of you folks from the board, and maybe just strictly just citizens in the county, we can have a little extended discussion, if you want to call it debate, complying with the Bond Act, and we can have somebody to moderate it, and we can have a discussion. And we can even talk about travel, what travel we had. We can compare notes, how we came to that decision, and we can bring up the recent reports. So I like to throw it out, since that ideology, those values or agenda affecting through you every citizen in this county. Let's put it to, I'm not going to put it to rest, but at least educate some of these folks. I realize some on the board think that the county people are dysfunctional, as it was told to me one long, long time ago. But I think we can make an attempt to put some, so we can appreciate your education, your thoughtfulness, and your experience fully. And I'm willing to share my experience and what I learned, and maybe a couple other people in the county willing to bring it up and discuss it. So in a spirit of going along to get along, let's see if you guys, the folks I believe in so much, let's put it up front and let's discuss it openly. You're still going to get the same love when you're on that soapbox as when you get your butts off of there. You believe in it? Put up and see what you got. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments on items not on the agenda? Okay, I'm going to move to the consent agenda. These items will be voted on at one time. If any member of the board, staff, or public would like to pull an item, please let me know.
Zachariah, Administrative Office. I'd like to pull and postpone item number 7 until a later date, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other items that the board would like to pull?
Number 9.
Anything else? Any member of the staff besides Zach? Any member of the public like to pull up a consent agenda item? Okay, may I have a motion on the balance, please?
Peter would like.
Yes.
Number 7, please.
It's been pulled already.
And 13 and 14 can pull also. I'm sorry.
Okay. May I have a motion on the balance?
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Spellman and second by Supervisor Edson. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 7, it's been requested that this be pulled and postponed to a later date, a date unknown. Mr. Cullum, when you are ready, you can re-agendize this. Thank you. Mr. Race, did you have a question on this you wanted answered? It's not going to be addressed today.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Then Mr. Cullum can adjust that
Okay, maybe get
today
Peter
or
Race.
next time.
Thank you, ma'am. Peter Race, Jenny Lynn, T. Poirier. To me, it looked like that we want to make a pretty hefty commitments for the next 5 years. Since they're going to be looking into the possibility of whatever, but is there any possibility that save some money? Because to make that heavy commitments for the next 5 years, I would like to have some information on supply and demand issue. And is there other options? And folks, I don't know. I know I'm asking for the impossible, but maybe something can be worked out with the school. The county can help the school can help the county. Printed material is, unfortunately, a dying subject matter. And I have a fetish on books, especially hardcover books, and I give all the softcover books to some veterans hospital in Livermore. But I would very much hate to see it lose it, okay? But what can we afford? So, because you showed at 80 cents to $1 square foot for the next, and then increasing it within 5 years. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cullum, did you want to answer that this time?
I'll address that when I bring it back to the board, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'd like to move to item 9. Mr. Spellman.
This item previously came before us at our last meeting, I believe, and there were a number of things that were asserted by the applicants. I don't believe, if I remember correctly, there was anybody legally representing the applicants. We had the planning department present what the applicants proposed and what they said they intended to do and the reasoning for it. Since that time, I've had the opportunity to meet with the residents who would be affected by this, and they have related to me that they had never been contacted. And this person said in their claim that they had contacted all the neighbors and that everybody was good with it and these type of things. So I think that in light of that information, that we should stick to the original recommendation by staff, and that is to hold the project proponent accountable to what's on the books in terms of what the county requires for this project. So that's my motion, is that we do not accept an appeal from the applicant, but rather uphold the staff recommendation, which is to have the project proponent fulfill county code as required. And I see a smile on Andrew's face. So got me. But the facts played out. I mean, when I went there, I looked at it. The grade is too difficult.
There
in my
is a
term.
motion by Mr. Spellman. Is there a second so we can continue further discussion since he made the motion? Okay.
I'm confused.
Okay, well, he's made a motion, so we want to discuss it. So I just need a second. Okay, I have a motion by Supervisor Spellman, a second by Supervisor Wright. Now we'll just open it up for discussion.
Well, before we go into that, just let me remind you guys, refresh your memories. What we had before us before was a situation where the project proponent had been denied by the planning department, without prejudice because it didn't meet the parameters of what the county requires. So they went to the planning commission. Planning commission denied them. It came to us, and the project proponent was saying that they felt like they were being number one, that the landowners that existed currently that would be affected had no problem with the way that they were proposing it, and that the county was being, overburdensome, and that, they were proposing to do a gravel and or a chip seal or a number of different things, saying that the people that were there didn't have a problem with it, the grade wasn't sufficient enough to justify, the things that the county was asking for. Well, I went out and visited the site and spoke to all the landowners that live out there currently. And the grade, in my opinion, is sufficient for that alone reason, for the county standards that are in place to be implemented. Not to mention the fact that the landowners said that this person or their representatives have never contacted them, either in person or by mail or by phone, nothing. So that was an out-and-out fabrication. So what I'm saying is we should have, or that we should now uphold what the staff brought to us previously, which is that the project proponent needs to meet the county standards as delineated by the planning department for this project to go forward. Seems that, what we just talked about, that fabricated conversations or, now I think you have the landowners here today to testify to that. So.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please, right, just identify yourself.
Karen LeBlanc, DeHoff Lane, Valley Springs. We spoke last meeting. We were confused on that too, and it seemed wishy-washy for the owners to agree to it and then disagree to it, and come to find out that it was a misstatement of the truth, to put it mildly. So we at this time cannot support a gravel or a slurry chip seal road. Mr. Batari may not be in ownership to maintain this road when it fails. His desire is to subdivide and sell it, so he would be leaving us with a substandard road. We discussed it with the owners, and we prefer the increased cost of maintaining a paved road to the headache of repairing a substandard road. So we do support the planning department's position to build the road to county standards.
And this was different than what you said at the public meeting?
Yes, at the public meeting, I was unsure of what the neighborhood's preferences were because I had never been contacted. And it seemed to me...
There had sort of been a split
right.
vote among the property.
Actually, there was no vote among the neighbors. We were never contacted.
I used the vote sort of figuratively.
Yeah. So between our discussion on meeting on Friday with Mr. Spellman, and we thank you very much for coming out and seeing the site, none of us want a road that's going to fail immediately and be left with us having the headache of doing the repairs when Mr. Batari will hope, in his opinion, be gone by then.
Okay, thank you.
The project proponents claimed that that the existing property owners were agreeable to a less costly, and so that was, I think we were entertaining the idea, saying, well, if the people want a less costly application, then maybe we can make it work because there's a lot of other gravel roads around there. So maybe we didn't say we could, but maybe
no, the board was fairly clear because it was a 4-1. I was the one, which is why I remember it was split among the property owners. But, I mean, that was then, today's today, and we have this issue before us. Is there anyone else who would like to address this issue?
Good morning, Board. My name is Brett Halfley. I live at DeHawk Road. I just want to reiterate the citizens or the residents of DeHawk Road support the county ordinance that was proposed at the planning department. So I just don't want to reiterate what Karen said, but we're in support of what the county requires of Mr. Bacciari. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are the project applicants here?
No. Is there anyone else?
Good morning. My name is Lorraine Marshbank, and I am the third property owner on DeHawk Road, and I do support what the other two homeowners have just stated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
My name is Tom Jeffries. I'm representing Batari. And we would suggest that if they want their road paved, they get to pay for it, because it's not a better road. And so if they really want it paved, they should pave their part of it, I would think. But it doesn't hold up better. Most places that have paved roads end up with speed bumps because people start driving too fast on it, and it doesn't hold up, and it's an awful lot more costly to. And the idea that we lied when we brought it in the first time, it was based on the fact that there are 4 other roads in that area that we've subdivided over the years, and those 4 other roads, none of them have pavement on them. They have chip seal on one of them, and that's all, because chip seal is an awful lot easier to maintain. Otherwise, people get to going too fast and they have to put speed bumps in. And so we would suggest if they really want theirs paved, they should pave it. That's pretty much all I've got to say.
Mr. Jeffries, I have a question. Yes. If the board upholds Mr. Spellman's motion to uphold the Planning Commission's decision to deny the appeal, is there anything that your client is going to do or not do because of that?
Possible. Yeah, he might say enough of it. You know, they bought a cheap piece of property down in front, and now they want him to pave all the way across, whatever it is, 1,000 feet to get to his property. They should pave it.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries.
Alice Gallant, Taxpayer Association. We concur with the with the last speaker. It seems proper that people should pay for an improvement rather than to receive the improvement at the expense of somebody else. If the neighbors would like to have a paved road, they should form a service district for that and be taxed on the tax rolls like other areas that want to improve the roads, rather than to impose an unreasonable obligation on a property owner. So we would recommend that you uphold the appeal and allow them to put in a gravel road. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scala.
Good morning. My name is Keith Hafley. I live on one of the other roads that Mr. Jeffries alluded to as far as using it as a comparison. It is a gravel road. It was a continual maintenance problem. We have formed a homeowners association, road association, and I am in charge of the association. And I also do the maintenance on the road, and we're just at the point of having it re-graveled. There are potholes on it. There is an incline, which is, I think, a little less than 10%, which at the time was required to be chip sealed, which they did do, and it's in deplorable condition. There's huge ruts in it. The problem with chip seal is that it's a fine layer of oil with a little bit of pea gravel mixed in with it that lays on top of the surface. And once it starts going, it just crumbles like cookie dough does. And asphalt is 3 inches thick, 2 to 3 inches thick. It's compressed rock with oil, and that's what all your surface streets are made out of, is asphalt, not chip seal, because of the endurance. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to us asking for an improved road, we are not asking for them to improve our road. We're asking them to maintain county requirements for the road. So what we're saying is what the county requirements are, which is from the main artery on. And that's not our preference, that's the county requirements.
Any other public comments on this item? Did staff want to make any comments on this, or? No? Okay. All right, I'll bring it back to the board. Is there any discussion that the board wishes to have? Mr. Spellman.
I just want to thank the staff for their patience. I want to thank the residents of DeHawk Lane for their patience and for their willingness to interact with me as their supervisor, although it's not something that I would normally be involved with. We do live in a small county, so where it's applicable and there's time, I think all of us as supervisors try to take an active role if we can. In this particular situation, addressing Mr. Segala's concerns about perhaps overburdensome regulations. We had that discussion last time. And this time is a result of me actually physically visiting the property, speaking with the property owners, and looking at the grade that exists there that I believe would fail if it had anything. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but there are reasons why the county has these policies in place. Sometimes, very seldom, but there's highly unlikely, but is probable. There are some instances where caveats can be made, for certain circumstances, but this is not one of them, in my opinion. And it's certainly evident by the testimony of the property owners here today that they're not wishing for an appeal to be granted, but rather that the county standards be upheld. And that's my motion, has been seconded by Supervisor Wright.
Doesn't mean he has to vote that way.
Doesn't mean he has to vote that way, no.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, hearing it before, it was interesting to kind of hear the pros and cons of it. But as I listened today, I'm really saddened that there wasn't more perhaps discussion and cooperation within the neighborhood about this particular subject matter. So at this point, I'm going to be supporting the motion that's out on the table. And that's primarily why. It looks like perhaps the applicant didn't work a little bit harder about bringing the neighborhood together in regards to this particular road issue.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, my position is still the same, so all in favor of Mr. Spellman's...
Could I suggest, I would suggest that the motion be regarding the resolution that was submitted on September 24th, 2013, the resolution denying the appeal. That's what's
okay. All right. So that's the reverse. It's going back to the old resolution.
Yes.
Okay. So the motion is to uphold the denial of the appeal for the resolution on September 24th.
That's correct. In the second.
And the second still holds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
I oppose.
Oh, and a 4-to-1 vote with Supervisor Edson in the negative. Opposed. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to move to item 13.
Did you want to?
We talked about it last meeting. In the last meeting, the facts have not changed, in my opinion, so.
Thank you. Yes.
Peter Race, gentleman, Tea Partier. Number 13. Maybe it's one of my pet peeves that it's...
I'm sorry. Could you speak up, please?
Oh, yes, ma'am. My name is Peter Race. I'm from Valley Spring, and I am one of the Tea Partiers. One of my pet peeves is concerning the veterans that we have in this county, and I see the funding is maybe not necessarily coming from local money. I don't know if it's coming from the state or feds, but I would like to know what has been done to improve and benefit of our veterans. I read your contract, and there's a list of preferred groups, minorities and natives and so on. But I would like to see the county make an effort to include and position its rightful, in my perspective, consideration for veterans in this county. They kind of put aside, and I haven't seen any kind of results from fundings that they propose here or fundings prior to it. It's nice to write up flyers and so on, but I would like to see if they can apply it to the Board of Supervisors, the CEO and attorneys, to make a larger effort to give breaks and consideration for the great number of unemployed military veterans. So it's nice that the money comes in, but all I've seen in that disclosure is that they're going to consider. But I would like to see some solid effort, but everybody involved in it, to help those folks. That's a request. Thank you.
I'm not quite sure. Our Veterans Office has received state recognition for the quality of their work. So if you have something specific,
yes, ma'am. I meant
applications, veterans are given addition.
I want to. Okay, that's nice to give flyers and folders.
Not flyers. They do actual work. If you would like to speak to our Veterans Office,
I have.
Who is a veteran?
I have, ma'am. I went to the library, one of their meetings, and I talked to some of the folks, and it's wonderful when I see elected officials and their staff patting themselves on the back, oh, we're doing a great job. What I want to see is this board, through contracting, and I know you perimeters, what you have to and who qualify and so on to work, make a greater effort to consider veterans now and in the future. If you feel that you did everything right, that's fine. But I would, and I would love to see shown a result. We have a great number of veterans in this county, and some of you heard talking before, and I would like to see them considered more openly, but results for jobs, contract, and etc. That's all I'm requesting. To me, when a bunch of people patting themselves on the back, that means there's nobody else who will pat them on the back. So, fold yourself in a flag or whatever, say anything you want. I want to see results, not exchanges of sweet words between public officials. I want to see results. Thank you.
Comments have been noted.
Thank you.
All in favor of approving item 13? Wow, I need a motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Supervisor Spellman, second by Supervisor Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Item 14. Mr. Race, you had a question on item 14 or a comment?
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, my name is Peter Race, Jenny Lynn, Tea Partier. I was reading I feel that this is almost like a blackmail, financing, and the potential that if you don't take care of the little crawling thing, whatever it might be, that you could be $5 million sued and fined and so on, I look at it as a blackmail at taxpayers' expense. Because I was reading it, mitigation fee would likely to exceed $5 million. Come on, folks. That's an out-and-out blackmail. You know, is that one of those same things that we had a Longhorn Beetle? You spent thousands of dollars for moving a bush from the jail, $16,000. I'm getting tired, whoever has a special interest, blackmailing the taxpayers, blackmailing you folks. That's disgusting, shameful, and shabby. Thank you.
Actually, it was 17,000.
No, possible fines up to $5 million.
No, he's talking about the elderberry bush.
Yeah, the elderberry bush.
Okay, fine.
Bridge to nowhere.
Are there any other questions or comments on this item?
Elderberry bush.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Ponte, second by Supervisor Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, I want to move to the regular agenda. I've been asked to move items 17 and 18 before item 16. We will accommodate that. So item 17.
Madam Chair, this is a resolution incorporating the changes requested by the board at the last board meeting, and also incorporating the consensus comments from the current members and potential applicants to the IHSS Advisory Committee membership. I incorporated approximately 95% of their comments because they were all on the same page, and those comments that I did not incorporate I addressed in the staff submittal as to why I could not do that. So if you have any questions, I'd be willing to answer them.
Are there any questions this time by the board? Okay, are there any other public comments or questions on item 17?
Is it 16 or 17?
17.
No, we moved 16.
We're moving 17 and 18 before. Okay, if there's no public comments, I'm bringing it back to the board.
I make a motion.
Sorry, I thought someone else was going to speak. I just want to say thank you. This was a difficult challenge to pursue, and I think that this is going to give us the tool to move forward to protect those who are the most frail and fragile. And I just want to thank you for that.
Okay, any other public comments? I'm bringing it back to the board. Did you want to make a motion?
I want to make a motion to approve.
A motion by Supervisor Ponte, a second by Supervisor Ibsen. Council, why don't we just leave it or put it at 9? Excuse me. Yeah, 9 voting members instead of 11.
The consensus of all the committee members that responded was to leave it at 11.
And
it's
then
actually,
review it?
Yes. It's actually 12 right now with the non-voting member. It's up to the board if they want to keep that. And then if you look at the next item, if all those applicants are appointed, you will have a quorum if people show up at the meeting. And if it doesn't work, they can let me know, and I'll bring it back to you at the end of the fiscal year.
Well, considering the problems we always have with all of our boards and commissions having people show up, it just makes it more work. And I guess I'd rather just see 9 now. And that's their challenge, is to make sure that they do show up. When you have 11, it's just easy to slip back into the problems that they had. It's my question. Thank you. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. So it would change it from 4 members of the general public to 3. That was my also other recommendation. But
well, you're probably going to be right, Marita, in the long run. But, we might as well give it a shot. That's my thought.
Fine. Because I wrote, we're going to jump up and down between 9, 11, 9, 11, on. And
yeah.
I mean, we have problems with every single one of them. When we look at how many, when you look at the next item.
The comments, they were all anxious to try to prove to you that they can get the job.
Yeah. I would love to be proved wrong.
I would be supportive of the committee's recommendation at this point. I mean, I know where you're coming from, Rita. I feel the same way in many things, but I think the committee has been challenged, and I think they've been tasked with kind of a starting over period and would like to be supportive of this endeavor. With that, I make a motion.
I'll go for it, too. I just had to.
Well, second.
Well, we have a motion
Oh, that's right.
and a second.
Cliff and
Okay.
Cliff got it.
Is there anything you're dying to say, Ms. Crane, that hasn't been said? We're ready to take the vote.
Yes, and I just wanted to say that the population that we are asking to be part of this committee has some interesting challenges, all mostly age and health related, and so the ability for them to actually show up to a meeting is a challenge. So, in my opinion, it feels like the responsibility of having their voices be heard, their proxy be brought forward, their items added to the agenda, their transportation provided if they are able to travel to the meetings should rest on the balance of the members who choose to serve on this
That number
committee.
is not being changed. It would
No.
have been the public.
So that would be, you're talking about whether or not people can make it to the meeting. Well, we have to have the voices of those that we serve, and that's an idea we've been floating around as how we can resolve that. So I appreciate the next year to make it happen. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Item 18, please. Diane, you have this.
Yes, we have applications for not only IHSS Advisory Committee, but we also have applications for appointment for the Top Rockwell Cemetery District, CSA 1, the Domestic Animal Advisory Committee, and one for the Mental Health Board.
Diane, for the DAC, Domestic Animal Advisory, all we received were just for those two?
Yes, because they're to fill vacancies that were for 2013.
Right.
And those were the two that they've gotten so far.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions or comments on this item?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Fonte, a second by Supervisor Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, I'd like to go back to item 16.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, members of the board. Tom Garcia with Public Works, coming to you with a contract for replacement of two bridges for Parsons Brinkerhoff in the amount of, where's my amount? $639,700 for the first and $612,000 for the second. These are for the bridges on Hogan Dam Road and Single Tree Drive over Bear Creek and Little Johns Creek. As you may recall, the bridge over Little John Creek on Single Tree was washed out in 2003 in the storm. That section of the road has been closed since then. This project will repair or replace the low water crossing with a bridge. Same with Hogan Dam Road. That's a functional low water crossing, functional being that you can only get across it during non-storm events. The detour around that crossing when there are storm events is approximately 30 miles. It's another, what we consider a fairly important project for the county, for circulation. Love to answer any questions you might have.
Do any supervisors have questions on?
I just have a general comment. It's as I look at this, it seems like we started this process almost a little over a year ago in regards to the request for a proposal. If granted today, we're looking at a 4-year time period for design, for environmental and design. Is that typical timeline process?
For the environmental, it is up to 4 years because of...
Up to 4 years?
Correct. Okay. For environmental and design to get it ready for construction. And that's because of the habitat that has been declared in Calaveras County with the red-legged frog and tiger salamander. The studies that we have to do are a little more onerous than a typical bridge crossing. The fact that these are low water crossings, also you're going into the channel, so there's a little more, a few more studies required. Generally, they don't take that long. My hope is that once we go out and identify, as we did with Wagon Trail, once we identify whether or not there's potential habitat, we can narrow the scope of the study and narrow the schedule. This contract specifically did take longer to negotiate with the consultant because we thought that the amounts were high, so we spent quite a bit of time negotiating down the services and the cost of the contract, and that took several months. Finally, both parties agreed to the scope and fees, and we're ready to move forward.
Okay. I just, it's when we talk about we're going to replace a bridge, it's not like it's going to happen a year from now. It seems like it's going to happen 6 years from now. And so it's just a little misleading. And not to say, you're at fault with that, but it's just, I just want to clarify that in this process, now we have the proposal for approval, but it's about a 4-year period for environmental studies and design review. And the environmental studies are really being directed by CEQA and NEQA and state funding sources and federal funding sources. So our hands are really tied to that kind of timeline. Once that's been approved, is it about a 2-year process for construction, would you say?
On these projects, I would imagine it would be much less because, again, they're not large crossings. Depending on the bridge type selection, it could be 1 season. Depending on the scheduling of when we can allow the contract to go forward. So if we let a contract in December, they can get started as early as April, possibly May, depending on if habitat is there, and get it done before the end of the season. So it's for a small precast bridge, 1 season should be sufficient.
So the fact that the bridge on the Little John, I'll call it Little John for lack of a better phrase right now, the fact that that bridge is closed?
The road is closed.
The road is
That's
closed.
going to take a little longer because we're going to have to do work on both sides, both approaches in order to put the bridge in. So that would likely be possibly more than 1 season. The Hogan Dam crossing, though, since it's in use now, both sides are functional, I don't see that taking more than a season.
Okay. I was just wondering on the Little John if that could be expedited because of the closure of the road, if there's any way to kind of expedite or bypass any process.
We'll work with the engineer to make sure that they're pretty aggressive on identifying habitat, and if there is no actual habitat identified, then we'll work with them to eliminate the studies needed, similar to what we've done on other projects.
Okay.
Again, that's what we're looking is a worst-case window. We want to narrow it down.
Okay.
And you're absolutely right. These bridges are funded 100% by federal sources, so we have to be compliant with their guidelines. There is no exposure to local funds or the general fund on these projects.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Do you have any? Mr. Spellman.
I just want to make a comment.
No, go ahead. Or do you want to wait until
Yeah.
Mr. Segala?
Now, Scala Taxpayer Association. I'm familiar with I think the Single Tree Crossing is in the Diamond 20 Ranches, and it was washed out maybe 20 years ago. And
2003.
Yeah, okay, maybe not 20 years ago.
Yeah. You've been here so often, it seems longer.
Well, perhaps that's true. And then the other one on Hogan Dam Road, I'm also familiar with that because I handle that area. On the Hogan Dam Road is very little traffic goes on that road, and there's an area where the stream is a little bit wider, and there's an area where you can cross when there's water. It seems like a huge amount of money is being wasted in the environmental studies, and then there'll be even more money wasted in the construction of bridges in that area. And I wonder if our our Director of Public Works could be instructed to look at the economies, even though it's not county money it's being spent, but it's still our money. And so one of the things that occurs to me is that a widening of the stream bed at the crossing and then a series of inexpensive culverts put in, allowing water to go under a concrete raised area, would keep that dry for most rains. And then when you do have a very exceptional flood, then a person can drive across if there's some water going across. It seemed like something like that would make a lot more sense and amount for a few $1,000s expense rather than maybe even $1 million. On the other crossing, Single Tree Lane, I believe there was a large culvert that was there originally constructed by the contractor that put in the roads. And it was not designed for those rare heavy rainfalls. Maybe it's a 100-year flood, I'm not sure what. And it washed out. Well, perhaps rather than going to an expensive bridge, which would have very little traffic, and actually that road may not even be needed because it hasn't been needed for as long as it's been no longer there. Maybe putting in 2 large culverts would be an inexpensive solution that would solve the problem and would double the capacity that was done before. So simple things like that can save the federal taxpayer, which is us, huge amounts of money. And if this thought process could be repeated in other small communities and counties and cities, watching the federal buck as closely as they would watch their own, we can start having a healing process nationally, which would be a step toward a better, a responsible approach to taxation. Thank you.
May I comment? Al, I would agree with you in regards to the federal dollars. I think that's a process we have to do now to get to where maybe what that design is going to look like. Whatever happens there, we do have to go through the environmental process because it's a fix or a replacement. And through the design process, they might be looking at a culvert-type system versus bridge or whatever the options are. So it's not clearly defined at this point, and maybe some of your ideas could be taken into consideration during that design phase. But right now, we do have to go through that environmental phase regardless of what we do. And as for roads well traveled, I'm sure if the word was out, you'd have every citizen along that roadway here in both communities saying, wait a minute,
Yeah.
because it is hampering their ability to drive in and around that area.
All set. Yes.
May I speak, Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Yes. My name is Peter Race. I'm from Jenny Lynn. I'm one of the Tea Partiers. Hopefully that we can learn. Well, let me start at the beginning. Something we got backward, folks. First of all, as far as bridges go and water crossing, one of the things that we should take a look at, doesn't the state supposed to be certify bridges? I believe that's a state responsibility, and they do all the bridges certification. And New Hogan Road, that road over there, was that certified unsafe or anything? Nobody ever mentioned that. The other thing is, couldn't we locally, without take a look at it, is that what's the traffic count on these things? Do we ever look at cost benefit? I mean, I'm sure the folks who said it could use it, okay? It's been out for 10 years. Because maybe, and I know some of you are newbies over here, you take a look at it. What a stupid, lousy, crooked scam we had on that bridge to nowhere. 1.5 miles from 26 to another one. Because we had to replace a couple of those big pipes. And I'm not a civil engineer, but I do like to count my money. I've been in business. It's worth it. But when you take a look at it, to replace those drain pipes, I believe 3 or 4 drain pipes, it costs the taxpayers more money to study 2 bushes than it would have cost to replace those 3 or 4 drain pipes. That's ridiculous. It's moronic. And you do it, you hire a Canadian engineering firm and a Middle Eastern designing firm from Lebanon to design it. And you're going to have a classic bridge on unimproved dirt road going both directions. Now, it's nice that you do an environmental impact study. And you saw the cost. It's almost like a scam, okay? You pay us a big load of money, and I'm watching my language, a big load of money to some wacko environmentalist to decide an engineering. We don't have any big classic bridges. If you're going to tell me some other county in this state, you cannot take a bridge design off the shelf in this state, you're nuts. Now, I know you want to please certain entities, certain interests, but you're putting a horse behind a cart. Is that bridge needs to be replaced? Has the state certified as safe or unsafe? What is the traffic? I mean, I know as well there's no general fund involved, but your constituents are taxpayers. And you take a look at the federal government, $17 trillion in a hole. And if you go along with this little scam, you're no better than the schmucks in Washington. Folks, you got to use common sense. I mean, it's, oh, we got to replace those bridges. You know, yeah, well, fine. Show me if it's safe or unsafe. Show me the traffic count, the eventual total cost. Because you can do all the study you want. You think 3-4 years from now the federal government's going to have the money? Think about it. Thank you.
Any comments from the board on this? Mr. Spellman?
In the packet that was provided for the board as well as the public, you can have a copy of this. Yeah, this is in the board packet. I mean, you can get it. On page number 1, the qualifications, the statement of qualifications talks about a gentleman who has a PhD in leading structural management, construction methodology, as well as another laundry list of other people that are involved in this. On page 28, there's a lovely picture of what's called a precast spread footing erection. So this is something that's created off-site. They bring it in on a big truck. They lower it down. It's already been constructed and made to the measurements. It's not something that's being built custom by some local person who's engineered it. This is exactly what you were just talking about. This is economy of scale. It's already been done before. It's a cookie cutter. They make it somewhere else, and they cast it in concrete, in metal, and they deliver it, and they put it in place, just like you would order trusses for your house or something. It's already made up to the measurements. They deliver it. They install it. So if you wanted to take a closer look at this packet here, you might find some of the information that you're seeking in terms of those things. To the other issue of whether or not it's needed, nobody needs something like that until it's your house burning down or something like that. Then all of a sudden it becomes priority number 1. Our public works director just said that with the washout of the one bridge and then the other bridge that's not, you can't get across there, in certain times of the year with inclement weather. The windup is you'd have to go 30 miles out of your way to get to where you need to go. So if we had a catastrophic fire in that area, which is my district and yours, would you like the fire engines to have to go 30 miles out of their way before they could get to someone's house when it was burning down? Or would you like to have a bridge in place so that, actually, I don't mean to make it personal or anything. I don't want to make it personal. But one of the people that contributed to the Founding Fathers' ideology when they constructed the Constitution was the idea that government should be limited. And one of the limited functions of the government was to help commerce transact. And that was specifically noted, Adam Smith, as one of the contributing philosophers, English gentleman, that roads and bridges, major infrastructure, things that local communities cannot pay for by themselves. The Bay Bridge couldn't be paid for and maintained by the city of San Francisco. It's a huge project. This bridge right here that you're talking about is $600,000. This is paid for through federal dollars. It's not being paid for through local taxpayers in Jenny Lind. We don't have the money to do that. So, again, I just want you to know that these things, I mean, and rightly so. I mean, $600,000 is a lot to me. I've never had that much in my bank account, but when it comes to building bridges and doing these things, those things are necessary for commerce, trade, for safety. And in terms of the environmental, we have no way to deal with that at all. The state mandates those things. So if there's going to be any change in environmental policies, it has to come from the state. We have no ability. No, but I mean, he's talking about CEQA or things in terms of, biological studies for critters that may inhabit those areas. That's a California Environmental Quality Act. It's not a Calaveras Environmental Quality Act. It's a state of California. So you need to talk to your assemblymen, your senators, and those people and lobby them to change the laws. And I know that you are. I know you've told me that you've been to the Capitol and lobbied for it, and I totally have lobbied for that. But that's where the direction has to be focused. We don't have any parameters of that. We have to abide by what they tell us. I mean, they cut the check, and so it's just the way it is. You have to do it. So those are some of the things I think I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of. I mean, I think that you are, but just to reiterate, especially in terms of the bridge, it is a precast design. It's not a one-off, custom job or anything like that. It is a precast piece of, structure that's being brought in.
Thank you. Any other board comments? I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second motion by Supervisor Fonte, second by Supervisor Spellman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. I'd like to move to item 19. Review correspondence. Anybody want to take the initiative and go first?
I will.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Well, I think the highlight of the last couple of weeks was for the first time since I've actually been in high school. I spoke in front of a high school economics and government class this last week in Calaveras High, and it was really interesting. And I look forward to getting better at it in the future. That's for sure. People don't react the same way when they're younger as when they're older. And most of my audience, everybody's older than 60. So it was a good, refreshing change.
In your high school, at the high school class, you taught that everybody was older?
No, most other times.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that would be interesting too.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I went to a fundraiser up in Royal Flat. That continually, it's amazing how many fundraisers can happen in these small communities to support something they're really passionate about. And once again, they're doing it in District 2, and especially Royal Flat, Flanco, West Point, Mountain Ranch, Moke Hill. Those communities are always holding fundraisers to support the things that they care about, and they really are the lifeblood of our entire county. Really, it's just astounding what we all give back to our communities. And then the last thing I report on is the Friends of the Library meeting luncheon at the Hotel Leger yesterday. Was really nice thing to go to and just hear the report back on how much money they give to the libraries. Libraries couldn't exist without the Friends of the Libraries throughout the county. And I hope that we as a board, I think we did a great job this last time around, and hopefully we can continue to expand our contribution to the county library system. So that's all I have for you.
Supervisor Ponte.
Be happy to go next. Angels Camp had a wonderful celebration this past Saturday. It was so nice to see Highway 49 closed off and lots of activity going on in regards to celebration of the 165th anniversary. Sherry Smith of Greenhorn Creek created an ore cart, life-size, that was just unbelievable and very delicious. The ore cart was shared by all the participants, and I want to find out more about that freeze-dried ice cream because that was something else. An hour worth of presentations and such, and I, on behalf of the board, presented the resolution that we had. I think overall it was a very successful day, and they're talking about continuing this kind of celebration on an annual basis. So my hat's off to the volunteer force that helped to create the event as well as manage it throughout the day. It was just an army of people that put it together, and the weather was gorgeous, and I think everyone who attended just thoroughly enjoyed themselves. I didn't hear many bad comments at all. It was just a good day all the way around. The Wagon Trail, we are having a public meeting in conjunction with the development team or the project team, meaning Caltrans and the city and the county and interested parties. We'll be hosting that Thursday night at Bret Hart in their multi-purpose room. It's from the hours of from 6 to 8. So there'll be updated maps in regards to where we are in the process, along with the environmental phase, with kind of a design phase, as well as staging the project into several different time frames. So I encourage the public to attend. This Wednesday night is Fish and Game Commission. That is a public meeting. I encourage the public to attend. The first 6, 7 meetings of the year, we haven't had any public, so it would be nice to see some public participation at the Fish and Game Commission. And they meet here in this boardroom at 5:30 Wednesday night. And that focus of the meeting will really be taking a look at our structure of that commission in regards to the membership of the meeting, how often we meet, and kind of the guidelines we're going to be following. I will be speaking to the Angels Murphys Rotary Club on Wednesday, kind of a open form of questions, so I'm curious to see what questions come my way, but I'll be attending that. Like to talk a little bit about veterans. I will be in the attending as well as in the parade for the VFW Post in Copperopolis for their Veterans Day Parade, which is being held on Monday, Veterans Day at 11 o'clock. And look forward to that participation. And, veterans are near and dear to my heart. As most of you know, my side job is working with seniors, and I have to tell you, I'm most impressed by our veterans person that is available to veterans and the needs. I have found this person, while we talked, I think it was mentioned about transportation being an issue, that this person will actually come to somebody's house to meet with a veteran to find out more about how they can help them in utilizing services and those kinds of things. And I think that's a rare find in this day and age. Everyone expects you to kind of come to them, but she makes that extra outreach and going out to seniors. And with that, I've sat in on many discussions, and I'm finding that there are many, many services available to veterans. And getting the word out to people is so important, whether it's opportunities for employment or recognizing veteran services as employers are looking to hire. Many of our recreation areas offer veteran discounts, sometimes free. For veterans, discounted fees for many kinds of things, services, including services available in Calaveras County and beyond, services in regards to medications, transportation, healthcare needs. I've even found here recently, having teenagers and going off to college, that there's financial aid assistance for folks who are part of veterans' families. What I find most times in talking to veterans, and maybe the ones, as I say, I work with seniors, so I'll say 65 and older, is most are not looking for those kinds of handouts, as they call them sometimes. While they appreciate the recognition of their service to their country and such, there is a population base that says, I don't want to highlight that. I'm not looking for that discount or handout or however you want to phrase it, which I find very interesting. But the nice thing about it is that we're fortunate to have somebody who's a designee at the Government Center to help out in these, and there's a myriad of services available to folks, and she's very knowledgeable about that. I've been very impressed with what I've seen so far. I just also want to close that I encourage my fellow board members to participate in the Visitor Center's annual dinner coming up, but more importantly, making some outreach to folks that I am trying to highlight more of what's in Copperopolis to see and do.
We have a board meeting.
Oh, that's right. That's why I can't go either. Okay. But more importantly, I do find that the staff there is more than willing to meet with you and look at your areas to see what more can be highlighted in our certain regions of the county. And I know for one, I'm taking a look at more of what to see and do in Copperopolis and see that there's some highlights in that area. So I find them very open, and a lot of times it's, you live here forever, worked here forever, you've only lived here for a year. There's just so much more that we don't know about our area, so it's a continual education process all the way around. So that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Edson.
Sure. Let's see. On the 17th, I met at the Kids Place, which is a after-school program in San Andreas, and their concern is that they're running out of funds to operate, and so they're going to the school board tonight to put on a presentation. School board meeting is going to be at San Andreas Elementary School, and so if anybody would like to come in support of them, that would be great. If there's somebody out there that wishes to write a check to this really good program, then that would be a good place to hand it over to who's ever in charge with that group. The after-school programs are, in my mind, extremely important to our communities because when I was raising my kids, I was a single father and raised 3 kids. And I relied on the after-school programs so that I could work and be productive. And then also, it made sure that my kids weren't just running around on the street learning bad habits. They were actually learning productive habits within this after-school program. And I'm happy to say that all my kids came out really well and are very productive people. So I'll be going to the school board meeting tonight in support of the Kids Place. On the 17th, I also went to listen to a speaker at the library, Heather Gass, and she was and Peter was there, and I think that Peter and them and Tanya had something to do with that, and they spoke basically on land use and general plans and that sort of thing. I thought it was very interesting. It's very nice to get all perspectives of a subject when you're in a position such as ours. On the 16th, I went to Placer County, Roseville, and there was a manufacturers forum there. It was called the Placer Manufacturers Forum. I was invited by one of Congressman McClintock's aides to go to that. I thought it would be very interesting for me to see what's going on over there. It was interesting. I felt like we were like 20 years behind after I left there. And, but, gives us something to work for, right? But those folks over there are really organized, and they have a lot of support and a lot of coordination around economics and bringing economics into their county. And so I certainly appreciated the opportunity to go over there and get a good look at it. And hopefully, Dave Jeffords went with me. He's I guess you can call him the chair of the economic development company that we have here in Calaveras County that's just starting out again. And so hopefully, I know Dave got quite a bit out of it too, so hopefully we can make something productive happen for us with that. I went to a meeting with the vets in Valley Springs. You know, it's all around that hall that they want to complete. And they're having issues with fire system and electrical, or the PG&E. So I think they have a plan now, and that's good news because they can move forward, I think, here pretty soon. Also, this Wednesday, tomorrow, I'll be going to the Vets Hall in Valley Springs to put in 2 hours or so, hopefully 2 hours of some service to help them do some construction inside. Luckily, there'll be people there telling me what to do. And but anyhow, so they look for volunteers for that. You can get a hold of me if anybody wants to volunteer their time in that to get that hall coming forward and continue to be built. Give me a call and I can put you in the right hands for that. On the 19th, which was this last Saturday, we had Wines on the Main Street in San Andreas. It was a very fun event, and they shut down Main Street, which gives it a whole different look, I got to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they set up tables on the outside edges of the street, and people pour wine, and there's music playing, and there was food, and it was a nice, really calm, nice event. And hopefully it'll continue to go. And it was put on by the Chamber of Commerce, and so it was a great event. At that event, Diane Gray is stepping down as the executive director of Chamber of Commerce, and Mindy Boyette will be sitting in as interim, and she's pretty excited about that. So Diane did a great job for 10 years as being executive director of the chamber, and now she's found another job, and so now we have a rotation of people. So we're pretty excited about Mindy coming in and doing a great job. That same night, after I had my wine on the Main Street, I went to the Purple Heart Anglers dinner at the town hall, and this is veterans. And this group, what they do is they go out and they look for these veterans that are, a lot of veterans don't have a great time all the time. And so there's an opportunity for these veterans to go out fishing and do some hunting with this group, and they take them out and sometimes in the ocean, sometimes in the local lakes here. In this case, it's the local lakes, and they spend time with them. There's some folks that do this, and they get them a custom-made rod in a lot of cases, and they set them up with all the fishing gear that they need and take them out and interact with them in a very positive way. So it's a healing thing for a lot of folks. And there was a couple of moments that night where they were introducing some of these veterans, and it was you could see that there was some real bonding going on, and they were kind of happy to run across each other. A lot of times, in many cases, they could sit next to each other and not even speak, not even know who they are. And this is an opportunity for them to actually talk to people that understand their situations. So on Sunday, I started at the town hall. We are having a haunted house there for the 26th, the Halloween Carnival. And so we started putting together a haunted house, which is kind of fun, especially when you have people that are scared of the dark. That makes it really fun. And so we encourage families to bring their kids to the Halloween Carnival on the 26th. I think it's from 4 o'clock to 7 or 8. And in that carnival, there will be a haunted house downstairs in the town hall. And if anybody's been down there, without the lights, it's already scary. But
I mean, with the lights, it's scary.
well, you know, so what I'm doing is I'm just enhancing that a little bit. And I think that I talked to a couple of people when I went to the kids' place, and they knew about it, and they said they were scared to death last year when they went down there. I don't know. I didn't think it was that scary, but of course I put it together. So, and on let's see. Yesterday I went to a meeting at Calaveras Unified School District, and we met with Delta College, and we're beginning to talk about education here in Calaveras County. And so it's just at the beginning stages, so there's really nothing to report on it. But I just wanted to let you know that there's a possibility that we could get some cooperation going for Delta College. There will be a press release probably in January when the groups get together and really start talking. But the preliminary, it's looking positive. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but have you noticed that the silos at the cement plant are coming down? And so, in my mind, it's kind of an important step to get past the past, and let's move on to the future. I want to thank the environmental for Brian Moss and his group for taking the steps to contact the owners of that cement plant and to make sure that they're environmentally safe and safe anyhow, because a couple of things happened. One was there was a YouTube video out that showed a young man that climbed up on top of those towers and was saying, "Look at where I am," and taking this panoramic view. And I think that scared the heck out of some people. And thanks to Environmental Health contacting Heidelberg, the owners of the cement plant, and then on top of that, the cement plant folks decided to do the right thing and come out and do the reclamation on those towers, so that it could be a safer place. I'm going tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? To Marita's neck of the woods, and we're going to meet with Susie's at Susie's restaurant. So if anybody's up in that area, please stop in and be a patron, so that we continue to have our great business up there. And then, are we still having a wagon trail meeting on the 24th, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll be there on the 24th at the wagon trail community meeting.
Mr. Spillman? Okay, time's up. It's my turn.
I guess seems like all of us have been busy lately. It comes in waves, I guess.
Continuous.
Yeah.
It's a big wave, actually.
Yeah. Need a surfboard for that one. I also attended the CCTA meeting about Agenda 21 with Supervisor Edson here at the library.
That was the dark side of sustainability, right?
Yeah.
I love that title.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was really catchy.
I'm going to wear a Darth Vader mask next meeting.
Well,
she was a good speaker.
Yeah, she's a good speaker, and one of the things that I took from that, Holly Mines was there and Lou Mayhew was there, so I thought it was interesting. So let's see what's going on.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that actually. I just couldn't make it.
It was pretty interesting. She had a lot of good research and stuff to kind of back up what she was talking about, which was nice, rather than people just spouting stuff out that's unsubstantiated. One of the things, though, that did come out of that I thought was rather positive was that, Tanya Dawson, who's a big property rights advocate, and Lou Mayhew, who is also involved with a lot of property issues here in the county, there was a new map shown, draft 2 or something like that of the general plan, and it showed coloring indicating, 20 units per acre in Campo Seco. And both Lou Mayhew and Tanya Dawson, I think, maybe it wasn't 100% mesh, but I mean, they were both in agreement that, 20 units per acre was not conducive or proper for Campo Seco. And that's a situation that the guest speaker was talking about, where the state develops these overlays, they call them, these best practices type things, and anywhere that you find a city or a downtown type of area, it calls for high density housing, regardless of whether or not it's in Campo Seco or Jimmy Lynn, someplace like that where it's obviously not appropriate or desired. So that's a situation where the folks at our planning department will have to modify that with the help and direction of the people who live in the community to come up with something that's more appropriate. And I heard Mr. Mayhew as well as Ms. Dawson both agree to that ideology, that it could be something that was talked about between the people that actually live there in conjunction with our planning department as we draft our general plan and looking forward to the future. So I thought that was a positive outcome, at least one of the day. I thought, there are things that people can agree on. And I think there's actually more to agree on than there is to disagree most times, if people were willing to look for the opportunity. On a slightly sadder note, I will be also at the school board meeting tonight. I'll be videotaping under the direction of legal advice, should I say. I've had complaints from my constituents that our local elected school board trustee committed perjury in a candidate statement. And I've researched and found that to be true. And we've asked her to step down and or at least apologize as a beginning process to the healing in dealing with her perjury. She refuses to do so.
Mr. Spellman, could you keep it to
Yes.
the county? Thank you.
It is the county. These are my constituents that have asked me to pursue this. So I'm going to videotape it tonight as per council so that we have it recorded. She can either state yes or no. It's a simple question. She either did or did not say certain things in a candidate statement. It's rhetorical. We already know she did. So that's unfortunate, but I'm going to be doing that tonight. So anybody knows that they want to attend at the San Andreas.
You're just going to be videotaping it?
I'm going to be videotaping me asking her, do you or do you not have a teaching credential, which you stated that you did on your candidate statement, which you signed under penalty of perjury?
Okay, Mr. Spellman.
Okay.
Please.
Next on the list. Mountain County Water went to a meeting last week in Placerville. Actually, Auburn. I take that back. Last year's was in Placerville. It was in Auburn. Very interesting. The California, Water Quality Control Board representative, and there was another guy from Sacramento, something else that sounded very similar to that. Assemblyman Bigelow was there, and other people involved there. I was happy to see that our CCWD from Calaveras County was, Mr. Stump from CCWD represents Mountain Counties as part of the, I think he's the board president or something. And I know also that Bob Dean is a acting member of that organization, and they had a significant role there, which was nice to see. There was a lot of interesting things discussed. One thing that was interesting to me was talk about, they had an attorney that's represented some major litigation in terms of counties of origin water rights. And what he had to say was not particularly pleasing to my ears or some of the other people that were there. He basically, in a roundabout way, gave the ideology that, or the mindset that these things can be restructured. What that means is that they can be whittled away, is what it accounts to for me. And I'm not real happy about that. But other than that, I think it was productive. They did have a unanimous decision to approach the governor on some issues about the Delta Conservancy and different things like that that are kind of nonsensical. But so it's nice to see that there are some entities working together both in Northern and Southern California in terms of water rights, where they haven't been in the past. Of course, that's very tentative. It's always subject to change. But right now, they're working together fairly well, which is nice. I had an opportunity last week also to go, or a week before maybe, to the Fire Safe Council meeting in Arnold up in
Thursday night.
Marina's neck of the woods.
At the Calaveras Fire Safe Council?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It was Thursday.
They got a lot of work to do.
They do. And I noticed on their agenda they had a lot of money approved for fire breaks in Bar 20. And that's something that we'd like to do more of in the Rancho Calaveras, Jenny Lind area, because there are a lot of structures.
We have representatives in those areas.
They do not have a VIP program. And we have a very active one. I don't know if they do in the...
Marita, and after going to that meeting, Marita and I are going to have a follow-up meeting, and she's going to talk to me more about how to structure those things.
I think we should actually have an agenda discussion item on Fire Safe Council.
I think it'd be great.
And, in response to what happened, next door to us.
You don't want a rimfire here.
I think we really need to ratchet up our clinics that we're doing.
It's all funding.
I know, but I think we should have that discussion and kind of, they don't have the funding. They say, well, let's help them.
Well, actually, in the case of Bar 20,
gotten a lot of funding.
In the case of Bar 20, they acquired $190,000 worth of funding, and they've only spent 80 of it. They weren't able to spend all of it because they thought it was going to cost more than it did, and it was going to be more expensive. So they ended up in a situation where they're going to have to send money back to the state and then maybe reapply to try to.
You want a study session?
I want a study session on it. I think it's probably the most important issue, life-threatening issue that
I agree.
We face.
I agree. That's why, I went up there. I've been wanting to nail these, pin the stuff down for quite some time, but I just, it's in Arnold. That takes over an hour from my house to get there, and it's at night. But it was cool, though.
Drive at night?
Yeah. I'm getting old, Chris.
Not always. Did you go for seed? Go ahead. Keep going.
But I agree with you. I think we should have a study session on that. I don't know.
Is there support to have a study session? Because it's not just Fire Safe Council.
No, I'm not just saying.
It's a whole. It's a whole consortium of people. SPI and all things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I think we have time on that because we're going into winter. But I think it's a good idea.
Also, one of the things they did say in that meeting was that because of the fire fee that everybody's not real excited about paying, they do have additional funding to hire at least 2 more inspectors during the off-season.
For Cal Fire.
Cal Fire.
Cal Fire has that.
They're going to hire at least 2 new additional inspectors for, January, February, March, maybe April to go and do those inspections.
That's great. You're not going to be able to see it with snow on the ground.
Well, they can see it fine down in Rancho. There's no snow in Rancho.
Is it going to snow?
No.
Yeah, it's going to snow.
So that was the good news from that. I also attended the Republican Central Committee meeting. They had a gal there talking about...
a woman?
A woman, yes. A lady, actually. A lady. Talking about... local candidates for local offices and recruitment techniques and ideas and political action committees that they've done in other areas.
Are we nonpartisan here?
Yes.
Just check.
No, that was the subject matter. Oh. Yeah, that was the subject matter. And I've asked Marita to convey, I was invited to that, so I went. It was interesting. So I get invitations for all kinds of stuff, so I'm willing to go wherever. Time and travel included. Okay.
Thank you.
I had an opportunity to go over to the East Bay to meet with a bioenergy company that's currently doing a project in Reno, a $200 million project where they're converting municipal solid waste into jet fuel, of all things, which is pretty interesting. They can create a barrel of jet fuel for about $40. So not only is it cheaper for market value, but it also has a green component to it. If you're going to have to fly for your job or whatever, then you might take a certain airline that says, well, we use 25%, bioenergy fuel for our jets versus just regular or whatever. And so this is something where they're actually taking garbage that would go in the ground and they're creating jet fuel out of it, which is something that is real exciting because a lot of people, have less than favorable comments about green energy or those type of things. because they're not cost effective or fiscally sound in a lot of people's opinion. But in this particular instance, I mean, they can kill anything on the market with it. They can create the jet fuel, with the ethanol from the municipal solid waste cheaper than they can create it with corn, with wheat, soybeans, any of that. They can beat all of that. And it's made out of garbage that normally would go into the landfill. I mean, who's going to argue that that's not a cool idea? So, oh no! Even that you can't agree with that. They're going to take garbage and make just.
Mr. Spellman.
Oh goodness! Well, I'll give you the cost benefit analysis. They got a guy with a PhD from Davis. Okay, so you can take it up with him on cost benefit. All right, moving on. Let's see. Just want to remind people that next Tuesday evening is our night meeting, and there are a number of things on the agenda, including if I can get everything squared away with the clerk of the board. The board, recognizing one of our local Eagle Scouts achievements. Be nice. And last but not least, I want to say it. I had the opportunity to go to the Dodasa Ranch in Burson to pick up our pumpkins for our family last Saturday, and they're in full operation with the fishing pond and the slide and the hay rides to go get your pumpkins, and they got all kinds of cool stuff going on out there. And I think it's really great that we have a local family that's investing in our community and has provided an opportunity for a nice outdoor event like that. Not just to pick up your pumpkins, but they've got petting zoo for the kids and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. And I mean, the guy thanked me when I bought the pumpkins. I said, shoot, I would have paid that much money just in gas to get down to the one in Lathrop. And it's right here. I got my pumpkins. I didn't have to drive to Lathrop, and it was pretty cool. And supporting local business at the same time. So I would encourage anybody that hasn't picked up a pumpkin yet to take a look out there. It's right on Burson Road. You can't miss it. The Dodasa pumpkin. Dodasa. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah. Good idea. The new Cinders is open. It opened on the 8th. Was prior, I think they called it the Valley Springs Home Center, was what it was before. Now it's Cinders Market and Ace Hardware. And I've heard lovely reviews. I was all set to go on opening day because I've been excited for so long, and I've just been so busy I haven't even been able to step in there.
So the grand opening is, I believe, on the 1st.
Is it? November 1st? But I have talked to a number of my constituents and people that live in the area, and they've given me reports on what exists there, and it's everything they thought it would be so far. They said there's plenty of service in the aisles.
That open up one in Oak Hill.
Good stuff. Everything's stocked. Everything's stocked. And they got people to help you and all this kind of stuff. So I'm really excited because, again, you paid $25 in gas money just to go to Jackson or Lodi and back, to get something from Lowe's or whatever. So I'm pretty excited.
Well, and they do a really good job on pricing at Cinders. Great service, but just to give you a small example, there was a gentleman that I know, he's a contractor, and he needed some of these bolts, a bunch of them, I guess because he actually got a job out of county. So he was going to go down to Stockton to buy these bolts, and they were like $5,000 for all of these bolts. And so he just stopped by chance into Cinders and asked them about, you guys have these bolts here? Can I order them? They said, oh, no, you don't have to order them. We got them right in the back. So Cinders is helping to stop the bleeding from shopping out of county, and we definitely appreciate that one. So thank you.
Oh, one other thing, I swear. This is the last thing.
Okay.
Because Marty's in the audience, so I want to make sure.
Just move it along.
Okay. I was in my car yesterday. I had an appointment in Sacramento and then one in Lodi. What's that? I'm just kidding. Yeah. And I'm listening to public radio, and lo and behold, I hear Valley Springs Youth Center saying that if you go to the Valley Springs Pumpkin Patch, a portion of the proceeds go to help the youth center, and I thought immediately of Marty. I said, if anybody's behind that, it's got to be Marty. So I want to publicly thank her for her hard work and in creativeness. I mean, I think that NPR is a good forum for people that are local, they listen to that. When I was at the pumpkin patch, there was a guy there that said he heard about it.
That was it.
He was from Volcano, so he heard about it.
It's fascinating.
It is. It is. You got it.
Mr. Stallman, I just want a yes or a no. Are you going to Treasury Oversight Committee for me?
I said that I would.
Yes, okay, and I have sent you the agenda package.
Yes, you have. Thank you,
Okay,
thank you very much.
He will be going to Treasury Oversight.
On the 24th.
Diane, yes, at the Planning Department.
Planning Department.
Yeah, it'll be at their conference room.
Gotcha.
Correct. Okay.
Okay. I'm on record.
All right. I will be at Area 12 Agency on Aging meeting, Central Sierra Child Support. Are you going, Chris?
Yes.
Chris will be there also on the 28th. Ebbets Pass National Scenic Byway meeting, the Chamber of Commerce mixer on the 24th, and I am going to a CAL FIRE meeting in Arnold that the local battalion chief is calling for those of us at least I know in the Ebbets Pass corridor on the 24th, which is why I won't be at Treasury Oversight. And I won't be at the Wagon Wheel because I have a community meeting on the proposed RV storage area at 6 o'clock that night. I, too, will be at participating in Veterans Day at Murphy's, and I really need to credit Debbie Rocco for putting it together. And she is also the one that puts the plaques, orders the plaques, and puts them on the wall at the Veterans Memorial in downtown Murphy's. I'll be at a hospice fundraiser. And I have office hours now at Murphy's Fire Department, and on Mondays, and Arnold, as I've had for many years at the Arnold Library on Fridays. Also, a reminder that the food bank Stuff the Bus will be November 9th in 3 locations, and I was trying to find it, trying to be very 21st century like my colleagues here, but I couldn't find it. So you'll have to call the food bank to find out.
Find out what?
Where the location is for Stuff the Bus. There are 3 locations.
Marvell, Save Mart, and there's...
Sierra Hills?
I'm not sure.
Or,
they usually have it at the IGA.
There's one up further up the mountain. I don't know if it's Sierra Hills. Or anyway, I'll find out. Last Thursday and Friday, I went to a broadband meeting by California Emerging Technology Fund, and they kept asking me to go, and I couldn't understand. What do I know? As you all know, I know Control-Alt-Delete, and that's the extent of my technology. And I thought Howard should be going. Well, they nagged me enough. I finally went. There were predominantly county supervisors there and city council members, mostly Northern California. Mostly we were rural county supervisors. It became very obvious that the large corporations, the big guns, are not going to be investing in broadband in the rural counties. And we each probably, I know Chris does, he wants it in Glencoe or Railroad Flat.
I have it in Glencoe.
Or wherever. But we all have roads and areas where broadband does not exist. And someone from Nevada City was there, and they're a lot more sophisticated on this than we are. And the gentleman said that they have businesses leaving Nevada City going into Sacramento area because they need redundant systems. They cannot afford to be down. Someone from Mountain View said, yeah, we invested in it years ago and we've outgrown the bandwidth and we need something new. Well, you know, half a dozen rural county supervisors, we raised our hands and said, we'll take your old stuff. And it sort of became obvious also that you're really not going to have economic development without broadband. And it's sort of like the rural electrification in the 1930s. I mean, these days, telephones are an integral part of our lives. Electricity is an integral part of our lives. Well, broadband has also become an integral part of people's lives, people working at home or just communicating with family. And for businesses, it's become quite critical to how they manage and run and grow their businesses. And it isn't just that, it's county fairs, agritourism, the agricultural industry, public safety, public outreach. They talked about FirstNet, which is a program that's being done nationwide, and maybe Sergeant Stern's familiar with it, for public safety and communication, because you can't, to have communication across multi-jurisdictional state lines, you need to have a communication system that everyone can use. So we do have a Central Sierra consortium on broadband. It's made up of, I think, 4 counties. Daryl Slocum heads that up, and I'm going to try to participate to find out what is it we have now, what is it we can do. As you know, there were fiber optics put in across, 9+ counties for Office of Ed, I think the library, the hospital.
Government center.
Yeah, that's when I'm talking about the library. So, but there's places. I have Love Creek Road. I have Sky High. I have, AT&T goes right down the road. Will they go into Sky High? No, they will not go into Sky High. Will Comcast connect? I have an area where I have people who work at home that would like to continue, but can't because Comcast is from A to B and C to D, but will not connect between B and C. And it was very obvious. Comcast was there, AT&T. They started talking about all their partnerships, and when they know offense CAO, but when they mentioned Santa Rosa and what they're doing there, I said, well, wait a minute. Santa Rosa is not a rural community. And it might be considered rural compared to maybe Sacramento or the Bay Area or San Jose, but to the rural county supervisors that were there, they're just not coming. So what is it we can do without them? What kinds of options do we have? And I know the consortium on broadband is working on those options. So, I was, for something that I sort of went fighting and kicking to go to, I was really glad that I did.
Caltel, Marita has.
Yeah, I know Caltel has, and so has Volcano, have been fairly progressive. But they're not up in the Ebbets Pass
because
or
it's
the Highway 4 corridor.
You have to be able to see line of sight.
Line of sight, yes.
And that doesn't work when you guys have all those trees up there.
And they are going to stay. We are not clear-cutting those trees. Oh, did I say that? That was an editorial comment, so I think I've said enough, and I will go to our CAO.
Just a couple of things. First, picking up on that last item of discussion, Clay Hopkins and Howard Stolman are working on putting together a presentation and bringing someone here to give you an update on the progress on getting broadband throughout the county and talking about areas that are not currently served and how we might be able to serve those areas better.
Oh, yes.
So
underserved, yes.
Yes. Secondly, I just want to advise the board that I will be out of the office for the next 3 days. I'm going to be attending the annual meeting of the county administrators from throughout the state. My understanding is 50 of the 58 counties are going to have someone there. And as a first-year county administrator, my registration is sponsored by the group, so I will be attending that. Clay Hopkins will be available in my absence, and I will be checking email regularly.
They're not all counties have CAOs.
Well, this is true. Some have CEOs, actually.
Or some have not.
This is true.
Okay, council.
Aye.
Ms. Sever.
I wanted to let you know that the advertisement for the 2014 vacancies on the citizen boards, committees, and commissions will be in the Calaveras Enterprise, hopefully on November 8th. We will be accepting applications until December 9th, and hopefully we'll make a large amount of appointments at our first meeting in January.
All right.
So the information regarding vacancies, descriptions of the committees, et cetera, is available on the county's board of supervisors webpage.
Which brings up an item. We changed to yearly for a specific reason a few years ago. Maybe we would like to review that again. And I'm not sure how we would do it or the best venue to do it. But
I would suggest, I have a list. I'm going down the list. You have a commission committee you want me to move to the top of the list. I'm just going to do them 2 by 2 by 2 and get them fixed, because some of them need to be slightly different for different reasons.
Correct.
So let me know which one you're thinking about, and I'll put it. It may already be the one that's next to the top of my list. I'll have to take care of.
Okay. I know why we did it. I supported why we did it, but time changes and we need to maybe fix that.
Madam Chair, may I add something? The Calaveras County Fair had their volunteer appreciation dinner last week, which I was not able to attend, but they did make announcement of the 2014 theme.
Yeah.
So here it goes.
It's great.
Fun for the whole herd.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind as we move towards the fair in May.
I didn't know that.
Fun for the whole
herd.
herd. It's an agricultural-based fair.
Yes. Very good. Okay. Is there anything else? Okay, this meeting is adjourned and we will be going into closed session. Thank you.
We have a whole herd of frogs up here.